Alrighty, these should be two really short videos. It's just to grab a whole grasp on the idea of exponential equations and functions and how they work and how we can write them from a table and a graph. We've already been going from an equation to tables and graphs, so now we're going to kind of go backwards. To do that, we're going to review the different parts of an exponential equation. So remember, A in an exponential equation is your initial value. And on a graph or a table, this is your y-intercept. In other words, where x is equal to 0. The other big piece is b, which is your common factor, either a growth factor or a decay factor. This is also referred to as a common ratio. So remember, if we're growing, b is greater than 1. And if we're decaying, b is less than 1. So we're going to use those ideas to help us in writing our equations for both tables and graphs. So let's start by looking at our first table. A we discussed was this idea of the y-intercept, or my initial value. We find this where x is equal to 0. So in this case, x is equal to 0 and y is 12. Here is your y-intercept. Since that's my y-intercept, yes, notice it's not the initial, it's not the starting value, because the table goes on for an equation in both directions. But it is my y-intercept. This is my a value. So a is equal to 12. So to find the b is found a little bit different. You have to think about from 72 to 12, what did you multiply by to get to from one to the other? From 12 to 2, what did you multiply by? And then 2 to 1/3, what did you multiply by? You can find this out by finding the common ratio. You're going to go backwards. So to find this, you're going to do 12 divided by 72. To get 0.16 repeating, that's not very pretty, so I'm going to change that to a fraction. So 1/6. So I'm multiplying by 72 by 1/6 to get to 12. Don't believe me? 72 times 1/6. And if this is in fact the common ratio, the common factor, I should be multiplying each time by the same thing. So 12 times 1/6 should give me 2. And it does. 2 times 1/6 should give me 1/3. Which again, it does. So my common ratio here, the thing I'm multiplying by each time, is 1/6. And again, we found that by taking my second number in the table and dividing by the first number. So here it would have been 2 divided by 12. 2 divided by 12, 1/6. Here it would have been 1/3 divided by 2. 1/3 divided by 2. 1/6. This is the decimal form of it. This is the fraction form. So that means my b is 1/6, which makes sense. Notice my y values are going down, therefore this is decay. And 1/6 is, in fact, less than 1. So overall, my equation would be either f of x, g of x, or just y equals my a value, which is 12, times 1/6 to the power of x. Let's do another one. Same thing. We're going to begin with my a value, which is my y-intercept, where x is equal to 0. X is equal to 0 right here. there's my y-intercept. In other words, there's my a. So my a is 5. To find my b, or my common ratio, what do I multiply 5/3 by to get to 5? And if that one's not as easy to see, let's move to the next one. So what do I multiply 5 by to get to 15? What do I multiply 15 by to get to 45? And so forth. You still can't see that? Take your second number and divide by the first number. I'm going to do it over here to the side. 5 divided by 5/3. 5 divided by 5/3 should give me 3. Which makes sense if I do 5/3 times 3. That's not what I wanted. That's 5. The 3's cancel out, just leaving with the top numerator. 5 times 3 is 15. 15 times 3 is 45. 45 times 3 is 135. So my b is equal to 3. Then we just have to put it together to make my equation of y equals 5, 3 to the power of x. All right, a couple problems for you to do on your own.